All right. Right back at y'all with another sports update. Adrian, Reid in the building. Fellas, what's up?
What's going on,
Yo,
fellas?
We right back at it. We right back at it. So yeah, a lot to get into. So the Wings today, they signed veteran Patrick Kane to a 1-year, $2.75 million contract. So Reid, how do you feel about the Wings signing Patrick Kane?
yeah, I know there's so many rumors going around. Is he going to go to Boston? Is he going to go to this team, that team? Red Wings came up, obviously. We spoke about this a little bit earlier, but yeah, and all my brothers and friends were talking about it. I'm excited. He's definitely a good, veteran guy to have when you have young guys like Raymond, and he obviously played with DeBrincat in Chicago, so he's a good locker room presence. I don't expect him to be, a 50, 60 goal scorer like he once was. But I mean, I expect him to get a few goals. He'll probably be a second, third liner, but it's a solid setting. He obviously signed here because he wanted to be here. I'm sure there's some sort of reasoning why he wanted to be here that will come out in a press conference if he has one, or any interviews that he has. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. It's something that adds to the team that's already doing well, and it's only going to help them. So, we talk about a lot of these Detroit teams needing to make major moves. Lions obviously didn't really do much of one. Pistons, we don't know what's going on with them, but Red Wings are moving in the right direction. I talked to they had, those two games that were pretty tough out of the four. I know they play the Rangers tomorrow, I believe, but they beat Boston, and they're I think they're third or fourth, tied for third or fourth in the division. So it's a good signing, and it helps them for sure.
Yeah, I would just piggyback off you. I mean, it's a low risk, high reward. I mean, he's 35, coming off the hip surgery. They said he was coming off of was like a surgery that nobody's came back from. So we'll see how he fares. But I mean, 2.75 million. I mean, it's not really much to lose. He can only help you. He's not going to hurt you. So I mean, it just helps. I think he'll end up playing on the second line, probably with DeBrincat, because they got some chemistry already together. So, I think although it's a good move by Yzerman, just unlike all the other GMs besides Holmes, Yzerman's trying, man. He's just trying to give us some hope and positivity, like in their third in the Atlantic right now. So, it's looking good right now. They're playing good hockey right now. So, not too bad of a move.
Yeah, they've been playing a lot better since they came back from Sweden. Yeah, I definitely like the move. He's a vet, he's a seasoned guy, and it shows that you're trying to win. Obviously, a team that's not trying to win right now, they wouldn't bring a guy like Patrick Kane in. So this obviously they're pushing for the playoffs. They plan on making the playoffs. So I definitely like the Patrick Kane move. So yeah, we got to see if he plays. They play at New York tomorrow, Reid?
I think they play the Rangers tomorrow. Yeah, if I'm correct, it's either the Rangers or they play. Oh man, who was the other one I told you about in the fourth?
Let me double check.
They played the Wild not too long ago too,
Yeah,
but I know they play.
They play the Rangers tomorrow.
Yeah,
Rangers
okay.
Tomorrow. Yeah, we got to see if he suits up for that one or not. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I definitely
we'll see if he suits up. It's the team he just played for last year too, which would be interesting to see. He was on the Rangers last year, so it'd be cool for him to make his debut on a team that kind of fell apart at the season last year. So I'd be excited. I think realistically, what you expect from him is maybe hopefully 15 to 20 goals, but I think he's just like, one of those guys that you bring in because he's so experienced. He won 3 Stanley Cups with Chicago, I believe. Yeah, he's obviously has chemistry with DeBrincat for playing there. So I think he's one of those guys that's just almost like an on the ice coach at this point. You can tell these kids what to do because the Red Wings are a really young team. So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so speaking of teams that play tomorrow, the Pistons play tomorrow. So the Pistons, man, bad loss yesterday, 126-107. They lose to the pathetic Washington Wizards. They're currently 2-15. They got the worst record in the NBA right now. It's all bad. This team's a complete dumpster fire. So Adrian, just go ahead, take it off.
Yeah, we'll let you have your minute. We know that you were waiting for this since we missed you last week. So
go ahead, let loose on these Pistons, man.
Yeah, sorry, by the way, I missed the audience, but I had stuff to take care of last week. But man. I wrote a couple of stats down because I was just thinking about this and looking at this and how putrid this franchise has been. I was telling Reid about this yesterday about y'all in the group chat. 14-game losing, like you said. Since 1967-68 is when they've had the first 82-game season. The longest streak for consecutive losses is 28 by the 14-15 76ers. The record is 9-73 by the 72-73 Sixers. The Pistons have 4 wins. I mean, 4 wins since the trade deadline of last season. You know how putrid that is. We're going on almost a month without a W. Tom Gore has bought the team, guys, right, for $325 million in September of 2011. So that's 13 years, 13 seasons going on. He's on the team. Team was $325 million. The team is worth $3.08 billion right now. Why not sell the damn team? Please sell the team. He's never
Cuban just did it.
And
Mark Cuban just sold his majority stake in the Mavs.
a little over $3 billion. So, and he still has majority control. But $3 billion, you can get your money back and some. You don't care about basketball. You don't know what it's like to be here. He's never here half the time. He looks like he's on drugs half the time. He looks like he's on the party with the crowd and use the t-shirt gun. But with that being said, I took a lot of time to do this, guys. Since he's on the team in 2011, I went back and added the total record of the Pistons up. The Pistons are 364 wins to 601 losses since this man is on the team. We have 2 playoff appearances, one in 2015, the 16 season, and in the 2018-2019 season. And both times they were swept. And that was Blake Griffin on a bad knee in 18-19 against the Milwaukee Bucks. So to say this team is not putrid, this franchise is putrid. We still have Arm Tellem in the building. What is he doing? He has no idea what he's doing. His son run player personnel. Troy Weaver doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's all over the place right now, and he keeps giving you these bullcrap excuses. Monty came out today and said they had the best practice of the day. Guys are diving for loose balls. Shouldn't guys want to do that anyways? I mean, what are we talking about right now here? You're done stuff like not take Devin Booker, not take Donovan Mitchell, pass on Tyrese Halliburton. I could keep going on and on, but this franchise needs a total 360, man. It once respected, not respected anymore. And right now, I'll let Reid go or you, Raaj. But right now, there's no light at the end of the tunnel right now because clearly these guys don't want to move off some of these guys. Troy Weaver's best move last year was the trade for Joe Harris, the dead body of Joe Harris, who doesn't play. I don't care if you're going to get rid of his cap space. It does not matter because at the end of the day, this team lacks anything that's going to help Cade. And Cade might be the first guy in NBA history to pass on a rookie extension because he's eligible coming up this season. If you're him, why would you want to be here? What are they doing to help you? Nothing. I'm going to let you guys go and then I'll come back. But I just fired up about this, man. Fired up.
I would let you keep teeing off. I mean, somebody has to have passion about it. And if fans keep going to this game, nothing's going to happen. I'll tell you that much. Unless we get some blessing in disguise and Adam Silver and the other owners say, hey, listen, this guy's never at the games. He's probably not at the owners' meetings. He's really not doing, as we know, he doesn't do anything. So unless they try and kick him out and get someone new in here, shoot, I wish I had $3.8 billion to go and buy this team, but I don't. I mean, like you said, it's just abysmal. You passed up on all these stars that could have been for, maybe overseas talent and Killian. You just can't seem to get it right. You held on to Dwayne Casey probably 2 years too long for this team. You don't make enough moves in free agency unless it's for, like you said, the dead bodies of old guys that are about to be shipped off to a retirement home. Go talk on some podcast, which we do, but they're just going to go steal our spotlight. So I don't understand it with this team. Gores clearly doesn't care. I used to be a Weaver guy. He's slowly falling because, like you said, no help with Cade. I was telling Raaj before this started, it probably doesn't help that you didn't start Ivy for the first 15 games of the season. Duran he's young. He's 20. He still looks like a popular and very young talent. He just doesn't score. He's good at rebounding and blocking, but he's like half of what Dwight Howard. Everybody's saying he's a young Dwight Howard, but he can't score. He doesn't do much other than the defensive side of the ball, and this whole team is lacking offense. I mean, you watch it, and Beef Stew will get a pass in the lane, and he'll stop, and then he'll try and pump fake, and it doesn't work, and then he tries to go up, and he gets swatted out from behind him. Or you got a guy like who can't shoot to save his life. He has the worst offensive proficiency in the NBA, I'm pretty sure, at least he did last year. It's just a joke of a team. I don't know if Monty just took this as he said they're going to give me everything I want more so I can just have all the money in the world and then not do anything, because that seems like what is going on. Like you said, Cade might not even be here, might not sign that rookie extension, or he'll pull a Ben Simmons and he'll sign the 4-year deal, and then he'll say, listen, find me somewhere to get out of here because I don't want to be here anymore. They're not going to help me. And then even at that point, they trade Cade. It will probably won't even get anything back for him because he's had no help. And where he looks good, he doesn't look. You're not getting first round picks for Cade. You'd be lucky to get 2. He can be a superstar. They just don't do anything with it. It's him versus 5 other guys, and then the 4 people are just watching him. That's all it is. Like it's ridiculous. It's unacceptable. People need to. We talked about this with the Lions when they were 0-16. People just should stop going to games. Stop giving him money. Stop giving him a reason to have this team. Because as long as you keep funding it, he's going to keep the team. And Gores will never sell.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Everybody's to blame when it comes to this Pistons disaster. They're a complete dumpster fire. It starts at the top. Tom Gores, he doesn't really care about this team. This is a good business endeavor for him. You only see him twice a season. He's at the season opener. He's sitting courtside at the Lakers game because we know he got to stay out in LA. That's where he's at the majority of the time. And then sometimes the season finale game, you see him. So you pretty much see Gores about 3 times. He doesn't seem like a guy that's really concerned about this team.
Or he has to come through when they draft a guy. Like he's just there to like sit on a mic and say a few BS things that people want to hear. But that's like it. He's here for like after they draft because he has to be. But like he doesn't want to be.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so,
go on, Raj.
So Gores is a big part of the problem. You got an owner that doesn't care. Troy Weaver, 4 years of nothing. Like you said, the coaching, they stayed on Casey way too long. Even Monty right now. Monty starting Killian Hayes at the beginning of the season didn't help this team at all. Ivy should have been starting. Beef Stew is still starting. He should be coming off the bench. And then where else? Yeah, this team, man, they just a complete fire, man. I don't even know where to go.
So
and
we don't know
when is Bogey coming back? Like, it seems the Bogey's been hurt forever. Do we have a timetable to a return?
It said a month, but it's been a month since he's been out. It said a month. I don't know.
Maybe he re-aggravated. I mean, no Monte. It's just a whole bunch of pieces that just the roster literally makes no sense. Like you drafted Sasser, you signed Monte Morris, you have Joe Harris. Like you're not helping Cade out. You have Asor's been good, but Asor does not fit what this team's trying to do. It does not work with Cade unless you give him shooting. You having Beef Stew and Bagley. Bagley, don't get me wrong, he can score a little bit, but he's not a jump shooter. He's not a 3-point shooter, so it doesn't help at all. I don't know what Monty was trying to do by proving a point to start Killian Hayes, but it didn't go nowhere. At this point, when you're wrong, you have to admit you're wrong. At some point, I get he definitely took the job for the money, but at some point in time, where does your pride come into to play? You don't want to be embarrassed. This is the NBA we're talking about. There's teams that rest, that tank, that don't play hard, that start backups, and the Pistons can't beat C&D squads when the teams don't even bring their best players. It's embarrassing. Like, you have to really try hard to lose 14 straight games in today's NBA, especially with all the guys. There's some talented players in the NBA, no doubt. But real quick, guys, before we get off this topic, let's read over Troy's draft and how bad it's been. Let's go 2020. Killian Hayes, 7th pick. Isaiah Stewart, 16th pick. Sadiq Bey, 19th pick. And Saban Lee, the 38th pick. Both Sadiq Bey and Saban Lee are both gone on respective different teams. 2021. Let's say Cade's a layup. Nobody could have missed on that, guys. Come on now. We all know that was a slam dunk home run. Isaiah Livers, who they think is great but can't stay healthy. Whatever, he is what he is. Luka Garza, I don't know what you're thinking. The guy moves like mud, just like Zach Edey does at Purdue. And then I can't even pronounce this guy's name. Balza Kopvrika. I don't even know.
Balsa Wood.
Yeah, I don't know.
Florida State.
Last year's draft, the number 5th pick, Jaden Ivey, who finally is getting started, who's playing actually well. So let's get that there. He's finally playing well. Jalen Duren, which is, seems okay so far. And then some Italian guy, Gabriel Procida. And in this year's draft, Asar Thompson and Marcus Sasser, who have both played decently well. But like I said, the pieces don't fit this team at all. If Cade is your franchise player, you do everything in your power to make sure it works. We know he can shoot. We know he can pass. Of course, his efficiency and some of his stuff and his turnovers are going to go down. The team's just looking at him dribble the basketball. You don't have guys who can do pick and roll. I mean, it's good. Duren can do pick and roll, but he's not a shooter. So nobody's going to respect that. There was a play the other day where literally Cade was driving and Asar Thompson was in the corner, but he didn't make himself available. The guy's not coming off to help. I mean, they're not coming off to try to contest Asar's shot. What can he do? And the offense is just dead. It's just, like I said, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no fire under Troy Weaver. He thinks his job is safe as can be. and I don't know if you guys noticed, but they don't play a losing team until December 31st. I mean December 21st. So will they get any more wins for the end of the year? I don't see it. I could possibly see them having 2 wins going to start 2024. Who knows what happened at this point? But it's like I said, I'm done. Like I told Reid, I'm not watching anymore for a time being. Raaj, I'm boycotting, man. I look at the highlights, I look at the stats on ESPN or Bleach Report, whatever, but I refuse to give this team any more of my time right now. And the rest of the 12 fans that we do have should do the same.
I totally agree with everything you're saying. I love Asar. I think Asar is a very talented player. The fact that he has no shot and we can't wait another year for him to develop a shot stinks. I hate that. What were they going to do? I don't know. But I said after all that happened, when you knew that it was going to be the top 3 that were picked, you knew the Thompson twins were probably going to go 4 and 5 either way. It would have ended up that way. They should have traded back. They should have tried to get some sort of veteran or some sort of guy that can come out here and help create space, help Cade play. You already have Ivy with that 5th pick. Like the first round picks in the NBA are so tough. And the draft in the NBA, it's like the first 3 guys, and after that, it's all like they say, it's a lottery. I mean, it's obviously for that you get, but it's a lottery on the guys too. Like you rarely hit with a lot of these players. So I don't know. They should have traded it. I don't know who they can go get. I don't know what they're going to go get. I mean, they can still trade for people right now. I don't even think they're trying to make moves for anyone. So it's like, on top of it, what do you have to trade? The only thing you really have to trade is potentially Duran, which you don't really want to get rid of, but he's a young piece, so you kind of need to. Asar, Ivy. Because if you really want Cade to be your guy, you have to keep him on the team, and you got to get stuff around him. I just don't know where they can go. I know we've talked about them getting Siakam. I don't know what they have to give up, but at this point, like, give it up. Like, you don't need these draft help you. It's the NFL. These guys rarely start day one unless they're a top 3 pick. They rarely start day one. Obviously, we have Asar starting because we don't have anybody else. But even look at Amen. He doesn't even start in Houston. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's so crazy to me that you think all these draft picks are going to save you. They're not. Get rid of them. There's a reason that you trade 4 or 5 picks for Kevin Durant, for a Kyrie Irving, or for all these guys. You may not like it, but you get rid of those picks. Kawhi Leonard, you go and get Paul George. You go get all these guys. It worked out for Oklahoma City because they got Shea, but other than that, they didn't need Paul George anymore. I mean, granted, they probably got a little bit better draft lottery luck because they got Chet too, but like they still had other pieces they drafted. They have 1 million draft picks. They don't even need them, but like they hit on a few of them and picked up now probably the point guard in the NBA right now, who is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So I don't know. I know you'll get to these, but someone in the comments said, who's the leader on the Pistons? I mean, it's got to be Cade because he's all that we have. Like, he is leading. He's the only guy that scores 20 plus a night. He is leading, but he's leading like the blind. It's like going out there and leading a bunch of toddlers to try and build a house. Almost like you go out there. It's trying to tell ducks. It's trying to tell kids to follow you across the street to get to school. Like, you can't do it. Like, kids don't work that way. They just go. There's no talent. There's no veteran presence. Bogey, he's obviously a good shooter, but he's not a guy that's been on championship teams. He's not even really that solid of a vet. I mean, he's had a good career, but he just doesn't have much other than that. Need to go and get someone else. You need to go trade, sell the farm at this point.
Absolutely. Trying to see some more of the feedback here. You see the Pistons are too young. We need some vets in that locker room showing these kids the ropes.
Yeah.
I probably agree with that, yeah.
And then we got Bashir in the building says Goris needs to sell the team.
100%.
We're all in agreement on that. So yeah, Pistons got the Lakers at home tomorrow. We'll see if they end this 14-game losing streak tomorrow, which they probably won't. But
no chance. Especially Lakers lost by 44 last night, so no chance.
Right.
This is a get right spot for them.
Absolutely.
Hey, to be fair, the Clippers did lose to the Nuggets with no Aaron Gordon, Joker, or Jamal Murray, so they might be just as bad.
Reggie Jackson dropped a 30 piece on him though, so
he did that to us too. I think 28. Yep. I'm not even gonna say us anymore. I don't even want to be affiliated with this team right now.
Yeah. So on the brighter side, MSU did hire a new football coach, Jonathan Smith. Jonathan Smith, excuse me, had his presser earlier. The former Oregon State head coach went 34-35 at his tenure at Oregon State, a former alumni there as well. So, Adrian, how do you feel about the MSU hiring Jonathan Smith? Do you like this hire?
I love the hire. I think out of all the coaching vacancies filled so far during this, what's about to be the Wild Wild West of college football off seasons, and it's not even over. It's not even really started yet. I'll give Michigan State I'll give them an A. I know he's from the West Coast. I know it's different than the East Coast, but Oregon State was. Who knows what's going to happen to that program? They're not no more Pac-12. Jonathan Smith takes the bright opportunity, joins a program that kind of fits what he likes to do. Pro-style offense. His teams are real physical, which Michigan State's been known for, and that's how they play their best football. I believe he'll be able to get – he was able to turn low-star guys to really good NFL players and college players at Oregon State with the breadcrumbs. Imagine what he's going to be able to do at State with the money that they'll help facilitate NIL and just recruiting so that he'll be able to land some of these 4-star, even maybe a 5-star guy here and there. So I overall, I think it's a great pickup by Michigan State. He got a 7-year deal for, I believe, a little over $7 million, which is about the going rate for a big time coach, not overpaid like he did Mel Tucker. So I think it's a good hire. I got to give him a year or two to get it together, but I think he'll turn this program back into respectability, which is what we all want most. You know, we want some competitiveness. We don't want to see them getting blown out like they did, giving up 40 burgers in Michigan, to Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan, and then we won't have divisions next season. So Big Ten will be wide open. It'll be easier, actually, I think, for them. So I think they can become a top 4 team again in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a hiring. I was looking at his record before. Granted, I think it's kind of a little bit skewed because Oregon State is Oregon State. So his first 3 years there, he was under 500, which I would expect a new coach coming into a program getting set. But then after that, he ended up being 7-6, 10-3, 8-4. So yeah, I mean, he definitely is respectable. I know the OC for Oregon State is the new head coach there. A former alum from school. So, I mean, with the way that college football is moving, I would kind of hope that he would bring the team back faster than, in 2-3 years. I kind of want him to be at least maybe a bowl eligible team next year. I would hope that he could bring up State to 6 wins. As you guys know, I'm not. I don't root in the Big Ten. I'm a Florida State guy, but if I am rooting for a team in the Big Ten, it's Michigan State because my sister did go there. So kind of just been hanging around him for a while. But yeah, I think that he's definitely a solid hire. Got to see what he can do with the whole recruiting, the NIL deals, and transfer portals. He's got to hit it hard, man. That's one thing that Michigan State hasn't done is not hit hard through the transfer portal like Adrian said. Maybe you can get 4 stars and be lucky enough to get a 5-star if you can get someone to crank out some NIL money. The biggest thing he needs to try and recruit, which he did with Uangalele from Clemson to Corvallis, he got to get a quarterback. That's their biggest issue every year, it seems like, for State. They never have a quarterback for the most part, so he's got to go and recruit a quarterback. I know that whole O-line, I think, or pretty much the whole O-line for State is entering the transfer, which I thought was kind of funny because they weren't good this season, so I don't know who's going to want them. But I mean, hopefully you can recruit some good guys. I think it's a good hire and good. He's a younger guy, so I think it's a good step in the right direction for them, especially after the whole Mel Tucker thing. I thought they were going to have to pay him upwards of half just to kind of convince him. It is a bigger job than Oregon State for sure. So. Hopefully, he just brings back those rivalries for Penn State, Michigan State, Michigan State, and Ohio State, Michigan State. I expect them, since there's 12 games, I expect them to be in the college football playoff within the next 2 years. Is what I would expect. Since there's going to be so many.
Yeah. I like the hire as well. He jumped ship from Oregon State at the perfect time with the Pac-12 about to fold. Michigan State's getting rid of the East and the West Conference. You're going to be adding 12 teams to the playoffs starting next year. So, yeah, he came over at the right time. And even now with the transfer portal, you can speed up these rebuilds a lot faster now with the portal. So I expect him to get this thing turned around rather sooner than later. So yeah, I like the hire.
I think one quick point too, sorry, Reid. It's going to be important who he puts around his coaching staff because, like I said, he's got to be able to recruit the Midwest. But I also think it would help him get some guys out west. But like I said, NIL will be a big factor. But just making sure you have a better coaching staff because Michigan State got crucified with this offensive coordinator, this defensive coordinator over these past few years. And I did hear a rumor that he may be able to get the quarterback that they recruited last year, Aiden Childs. He was a 4-star guy, highly recruited. May be able to get him to come over to East Lansing with him. Because Michigan State did have all 3 quarterbacks enter the portal in the last 2 days. Sam Levitt, Caden Hauser, and Noah Kim. So they're definitely going to be quarterback hunting for sure.
Yeah. They got no choice. It said Michigan State football will be bottom feeders for the next 3 seasons, it seems. Okay, so
I don't know if bottom feeders would be the right term. And people got to I think people kind of forget because it comes lost in the Big Ten, obviously, with Michigan being such a powerhouse as of late, and the whole little brother thing's kind of coming back. People got to realize that State can still be a respectable football program. I mean, they have pretty good history, in the past. So I don't think they'll be bottom feeders for a long time. And if they are for the next 3 seasons, I don't think Michigan State fans are going to be happy with John Smith if that's the case. So I don't think it'll happen. I think he'll get it turned around like I said, I think he'll be bowl eligible next year, and I think the year after that he'll be close to a top 10 team, top 15 team.
Okay, so yeah, we gotta see what Jonathan Smith does, how he manages this shit. All right, so yeah, sticking with Michigan college football, we seen Michigan beat Ohio State Saturday, 24-30. So this was Ryan Day's 3rd straight loss to Michigan. So Reid, do you think Ryan Day's on the hot seat for losing 3 straight times to Michigan?
I know we talked about this, and I said I feel like he kind of is. I feel like Ohio State fans love Ryan Day, but they're slowly losing faith in him after these 3 losses because obviously this is their biggest game that they should win. I mean, other than obviously like a national championship. Yeah, I think he's in a little bit of a hot seat because it's like your only big win that you need in your conference. So do I see them firing him? No. But if he goes another year and loses, I would see them firing him. I don't know how a guy like James Franklin still has a job after he hasn't done anything in almost a decade in terms of big wins. So I don't think Ryan Day should get fired. Do I think he's in a high fan potentially the school? Yeah, I think you could see it going that way. I also think I'll give my 2 cents on the game too. I think they both played very well. I think Michigan obviously played a little bit better with the passing. It came down to mistakes inside the ball or inside of the ball with the quarterback. JJ didn't, he made the throws that he had to. He didn't make the mistakes that he has known that he can do in the past. Obviously did not look good through 2 interceptions. The last one was obviously because of desperate play. He needed to, push it downfield. But, yeah, they just didn't look good. They seemed to run the ball late. That's always been Ohio State's problem against Michigan. They never run the ball well, and they were running it okay, but I feel like they started doing it way too late. Marvin Harrison didn't get in the mix until the second half. The team was really slow. I think McCord was really nervous the whole front of the game. At least you could tell he looked like he was playing a little scared. Michigan just did everything right. I mean, Ohio State's defense also been another bane of their existence in the past 3 years playing Michigan, and they actually looked really good playing them on Saturday. So he stopped Cole for the most part, other than that big run that he had in the 3rd quarter, I believe, and he had another one close to the line. But, you stopped him for the most part in yards. You stopped Donovan Edwards, but they couldn't stop a tight end over the middle to save their – it was like Loveland, is that his name? He was catching the ball all over the place in the middle of the field. So, and even when Michigan, they had that left tackle go down and Loveland went out for a little bit, they still stepped through adversity, played well, won. Hats off to them. They played a really good game. So, yeah, I can't really say much for Ohio State. I think a lot of it came down to just bad quarterback play on that side of the ball for them.
Yeah, I would say Ohio State fan, hold your horses. I mean, he's still a great coach. I mean, if you look, Michigan's the only team he lost to in the Big Ten. I know it's 3 straight, but you got to give him a little more time. Now, if he loses next year, then that could be a topic of conversation. But with it being the 12-team playoff, you can afford a loss like that. So I honestly think this was the last Michigan Ohio State game that really meant something for all the marbles. So if you think about it, you can possibly lose 2 games in a regular season and still get in, especially with the expanded Big Ten, expanded SEC, the new look Big 12. So I think this game will still mean as much, but you can see these teams possibly play 2 to 3 times in the season. But like I said, Ohio State fans, hold your horses. Good win by Michigan. I think Michigan having that home field advantage over the weekend definitely played a pivotal role in that game. Each team was pretty similar, but Ohio State made the mistakes and Michigan didn't. It was the one who could withstand the punches, and Michigan withstand the punches, especially after Ohio State came down and scored and made it 17-17. And then Zach Zinner got hurt, and I was like, real tough. But then Blake broke off a big run for a touchdown, opened the game back up, and Michigan held on, and I just think they did what they needed to do. And they're possibly about to get back 3-peat, which I'm not gonna assume, but they should beat Iowa because we're not losing to Deacon Hill. Last week that Iowa game was ridiculous. Iowa's not gonna be Michigan. Michigan can probably set a lot of guys this week coming up. I think especially Will Johnson doesn't need to play, get him fully healthy, ready to go. So, but all in all, I think Ohio State will be fine. They'll still be recruiting at a high level. I think it's really just in Ryan Day's head right now, especially after losing those 2 before. He totally overthinks everything right now. Until he can get over that hurdle, it's going to be tough for him. But Michigan is in his head right now. That's just what it is. That's what it was when Urban was there against Harbaugh. And then you finally have to figure out a way to break it. I think eventually it's not going to be – Michigan's never going to not lose to him again. Ohio State's going to win again eventually. It's just a matter of time. So,
yeah, absolutely. Shout out Ack in the building. It's a very close game, and Michigan nearly lost that game.
It just seems like with these 3 Michigan games I've noticed, they've been pretty stagnant. Not a lot of big plays have happened. I mean, the Corum one, obviously, but it's almost like they played a lot of teams with really good defenses in the Penn State. I mean, obviously Maryland's defense not like anything to write home about. But they were still playing well. And then Ohio State's defense played well. They played teams that had really good defenses, but these offenses just couldn't seem to get anything going. We know what Penn State's offense was already. Maryland they've had a pretty good offense throughout the season, but they got backed up into their end zone 2 times, and that was tough. But the only thing, and again, I'm not a Michigan fan. I'm worried for my own team because we don't have a starting quarterback, and we looked pretty crappy against Florida for the first, half of the game, maybe 3 quarters, but they stepped it up. But anyway, the only for me as a Michigan fan is I would worry about is running into a team like Washington or Oregon in the playoff, a team that has a high caliber offense. Oregon will probably be the biggest one that would scare me because I think their defense is a lot better than when they played Washington in the season. I think they win Friday. But yeah, if you run into a team like Oregon, I don't know if if they're able to stop your offense and they can do what they've been doing all season on their offense, it's going to be a quick trip out, I think, of the playoff, unfortunately, for them. I think the same thing happened to Florida State, too. I'm not just saying that because it's Michigan. But I just think that a high-powered offense would be able to put Michigan away, and that's just because quarterbacks that just can't throw past their own shoelaces.
I would agree. The Big Ten, let's be real, the Big Ten is not a good conference right now. It's not at all. The Big Ten seems to play football like it's 2005, 2006, 2007. It's like slow motion. Now think about if JJ decides to leave next year, who's going to be the best quarterback in the Big Ten? We're looking at Drew Aller. Talia's leaving. So I don't know. That's the problem with the styles. I think Michigan matches up better with a Georgia or Florida State. Although I don't think we could beat Georgia or Georgia and Oregon will be the 2 teams I worry about. But Georgia would be a better matchup just because of the stylistically. Oregon, I think, will give Michigan a really hard problem. With Florida State and Washington, I think Michigan could beat. Washington's too one-dimensional, and haven't played the best football late. Florida State, like Reid said, his team's down a quarterback right now, and they looked a little shaky on defense. So I think it's wide open. Anybody can really win this national title, but if Michigan gets the right matchup, they can definitely win. But my expectations for them are to at least get to the title game. Unlike last year, I think they'll be a little more laser focused and locked in no matter who they play. In that first semifinal game. So we'll see what happens, but
Yeah, and college football rankings just came out. You got Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, Washington number 3, Florida State number 4. You guys agree with those rankings? Are those the correct 4 teams?
I'm
mean-
te- I'm okay with it. Washington, Oregon are going to play for a spot. Florida State wins. I believe they're in. Unlike the public who thinks Florida State shouldn't be in, but the resume speaks for itself. You can't leave a Power 5 conference champion out. I believe that's just the wrong thing to do. I know people are going to say they don't have a quarterback, but the Seminoles handle business, Reid, they'll be in. And they had Ohio State at 6 over Texas and Alabama, which, hey, I'm not gonna dive into it. You call me a hater all you want, but Texas and Alabama's resumes 10 times better than both teams. So Florida State, take care of business. Oregon, Washington, one of y'all, let's do it. We don't need Ohio State to get in. They don't deserve it.
I'm with 8. I don't know if Ohio State is at 6. And I'm not saying that. I'm not like even that crazy of an Ohio State fan by any means, but I think when you have an Alabama who's beat, I think 4 ranked teams, Texas who looks a little shaky, but they've still beat, I think, 3 ranked teams, and they've handled a lot tougher schedule than Ohio State has, being in the Big Ten. I don't know how they're 6. I obviously know they're 6 because they just moved 2. Obviously, they were at 2, so they just moved down a few spaces. So I don't know. The AP poll is weird. Yeah, Florida State's been the target of a lot of they should be out if they even if they went out, they still shouldn't make it in. They don't have a quarterback. The defense looks bad. They've been the target of a lot of issues. Raaj was praying my downfall this weekend in the message. So I think, I mean, if you're an undefeated team and you win you're like you say, you're a Power 5 team, you win your conference, and you're undefeated, you should get in, no matter, unless you're playing cupcake schedule all year. But they didn't play cupcake schedule; they still played a lot of good teams. So I agree with it because Washington obviously is undefeated as well. We'll see Friday. I think Oregon's a better team. I think they end up beating Washington. Like I said, this Friday. I think that's when they play. So
Yep.
I think it will end up being. I think it will end up being Oregon at 4. So that means that we would probably see a Michigan State game, the college football playoff.
I would love nothing more to see the matchup because the banter for about 2-3 weeks is going to be incredible.
I'd be scared now that Jordan Travis went down. It would be worrisome for me. But they can run the ball. They proved they can run the ball. That seemed to be a weakness against Ohio State for Michigan. So if they could do that, we'll see. But yeah, State didn't look too hot. Although he took that big shot, which saved us that first down.
Yeah. I really hate that Jordan Travis got hurt, man. I hate he suffered that injury, man. It just really, really robbed Florida State. You guys literally had a legit chance at winning it all potentially. Who knows once it got to the dance. It just sucks that happened. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into our picks for this weekend's championship game. So okay, you already know what you guys are taking. Reid just said it. So you got Oregon and Washington this Friday. Oregon 9.5-point favorite. Does Oregon cover, Reid?
Yeah, I think Oregon wins by 2 touchdowns. I don't think Washington's defense has looked a little shaky the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I mean they almost lost. They got lucky. Well, it was like a goal game, right? So against Washington State, granted it's a in-state rivalry, but like Adrian said, Washington State had a pretty solid quarterback. So I think Oregon still wins by touchdowns. Both is on fire and the defense looks good.
I'm gonna take Oregon, but I'll take Washington to cover. I'll take Oregon by 8. Get a touchdown, probably convert a 2-point conversion. I think it'll be a really fun competitive game for about the first 3 quarters, and I think Oregon pulls away late in the game and punches their ticket to a berth in the CFP.
Yeah, I like Oregon in this one as well to get Washington back. They're this has really been arguably the first or the second best team in the country since they lost to Washington. So this to get back right here. I think they cover at 9.5. I think they barely cover. I think they beat Washington by 10. Like you said, I think they pull away late. I'm running with Oregon in that one. All right, Reid, we got the ACC championship game. Louisville against your Florida State Seminoles. Florida State only 2.5-point favorite in this one. Who do you like?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a low favorite with the game against Florida because they obviously didn't look great. Louisville lost to Kentucky, so I mean maybe you can pick something from that game and pick out a weakness they had against Kentucky. I think State's a better team. 2.5, I think, is more than enough points. They got to stop Louisville's offense. Louisville has a pretty powerful offense, so I definitely think they'll cover 2.5. I think they'll win by probably a touchdown. 10 points, something like that. I know I say that almost every week, but I do think they will win this one by a touchdown. I think Mike Norvell, as much as I talk about him not being the greatest head coach, I think he'll get these guys to wrap behind him. Again, like we've always talked about this Jordan Travis thing, they really want to play for him. You can see it this whole week. Every time they got a sack or a touchdown, they'd hold 1-3 for 13 Travis. So I think that they'll win, and I think they'll cover the 2.5.
I'm gonna agree with you, my boy Reid. I'm sad that Louisville decided to lay an egg against Kentucky at home. It would have been much better to see 11-1 Louisville team going into the ACC championship game, just so you guys can notch another big win on your resume. But you win this game, that'll be another top 25 win on the resume. I know the ACC hasn't been great, but I believe Mike Norvell will come up with some schemes, get Tay Rodemaker in some situations that's going to favor him. Hand Trey Benson the football, please. 3 touchdowns last week against Florida. Man is one of the best running backs in the game in the college football. Get that running game going, slow the game down a little bit. Louisville has some explosive playmakers, but I believe you guys can get some pressure on Jack Plummer, especially Jared Verse. Please punch your ticket to the CFB. Nothing would make me more happier than Georgia winning, leaving Bama out, and Ohio State not sniffing anything. So we need a big game from Texas this weekend. If they can blow out Oklahoma State, they can possibly move up a little bit and put Ohio State to the back burner, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm running with Louisville in the upset. I'm not impressed with Rodemaker at quarterback. Louisville has a high power offense. I'm going with Louisville in the upset, man. I think they upset Florida State and upset fashion right here, man. I'm running with Louisville. All right. So,
I don't know if this will change your pick. Hang on really quick. I don't know if this will change your pick. My brother-in-law, when they played Southern Alabama when they were 14-0, texted me and he goes, upset alert. They go on to win it. I don't know, 40 points or whatever it was. You texted me last weekend and you said upset alert. Gonna Florida State, Georgia next. So text me Saturday and say upset alert. And let's see. And hopefully that is the lucky straw. I need someone to text it to me.
Right. All right. So we got the SEC championship game. You got Georgia and Alabama. Georgia 6.5 point favorite in this one. Adrian, who do you like?
Please, Georgia, just take care of your business so we don't have to worry about Alabama. They have no business even being in contention right now. I didn't get to talk to you guys about it, but I was going to text you guys about it. But watching at 4th and 31 play, that is a fireable offense. I don't know who teaches them football, what they were doing, but you don't give up a touchdown on 4th and 31 when that's what you don't need to do. Knock the ball down. Hey, pull the man by his jersey and don't let him catch the football and let him redo the down. But you do not, in any other circumstance, give it to him. But I'm taking Georgia with the points. Stetson Bennett's been on fire. Georgia's finding their passing offense. I believe they'll run Bama out the building finally.
You mean Carson Beck?
Yeah, Carson Bennett.
Yeah, Carson Beck. Carson Beck. But yeah, he's gonna run them out the gym and they're gonna run Bama over and not stop.
I'm going with the upset. I'm going to take Alabama in this one just because I want to see some chaos. I would like to see a Bama win the SEC. They have the 4 ranked wins. I'm kind of sick of Kirby Smart at this point. And a lot of people are sick of Saban too, but I think it'd be good for the college football committee to figure out what's going on when so many 12 or 11-1, 12-1 teams to go through to try and figure out who's going to be in this. I think Ohio State would probably end up getting in over Bama, maybe. I mean,
no.
They do beat unless they beat. Well, yeah, you're right because they lost to Michigan and they would beat
conference.
number 1 Georgia. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go with Bama, and obviously they cover the points because I'm going with them to win.
Yeah. So Reid, if Georgia loses, you think they're still in the playoff, or you think they'll be out?
I think Georgia would end up being out.
No,
would have to be, right?
No, Georgia's resume is too good. They got some ranked wins, back-to-back defending national champions. Anything they'll fall 3 or 4, but they're not falling out the way. That's why if Bama wins, I believe there will be 2 SEC teams in, and then it will just be Michigan and the winner of the Washington-Oregon game, and that'll be to set the field. So them winning, I think, is not going to have really a lot of drama. Only thing if Texas decides to win and they destroy Oklahoma State, they have a case just because they'll both be conference champs 12-1, but Texas has the head-to-head win against them. So what would the committee do? I'm going to tend that the committee will favor Bama because that's generally how they roll with the SEC bias. But if you want to give them some chaos, I agree. They haven't really had to deal with a lot of chaos in this 10 years that we've had the top four. Has been pretty evident who's deserved it. So if that happens, then we'll see what happens. But there'll be a lot of pissed off teams, man.
Mad fans, a lot of mad fans and mad teams if that happens. I still think Alabama's been hot, so I'm still picking them to win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like Alabama to cover that 6.5. I got Georgia winning. I got Georgia winning by 6 points. So I think that half a point.
Here's the key too before we get on the topic. With the fact that Texas is ranked at 7 right now, Bama's ranked at 8. Now, if both of them win conference titles, how could the committee justify putting Bama over Texas when Texas beat them head to head? That would be my argument for Texas fans. There should be no way that Texas wouldn't deserve to get in over Bama, even if Bama's playing the better football right now. That head to head win has to mean something, especially they did it on the road at that.
My guess would be better resume and beating the number 1 team would probably have a trump card on it, but probably not. But that might be the only way I would see it. Beating the number 1 team for the SEC championship and the resume that they've had against the teams that they've had. So that's the only way I would see it. But you're right. It should hold a lot of weight to have that head-to-head win.
Yeah, the head-to-head win. I don't think they'll be able to jump them. I don't think they'll be able to jump them. All right, so Reid, you got the Big Ten championship game, Michigan and Iowa. Michigan's 23.5-point favorite. Does Michigan cover that?
Yeah, I was talking about this. I don't think Iowa scores. The over-under's like 35.5, I think, or something, 32.5. Iowa's 10-2 against the under this year, or in their last 12 games. So, yeah, they cover. Does Iowa score? Iowa might have a chance to score on defense than they do offense. Offense looks horrible. So, yeah, I think I don't know if I would even take the over in this one. 35 is I think Michigan should just not even play starters. I think it should just all be backups, just to rest your guys. So I still think they would cover with backups. I think Michigan wins this 27, 24 nothing. You said 23.5 was the spread, right?
Yep.
Yes, 24 nothing, 27 nothing. I could see that happening.
I'll keep it short and simple. I believe they'll probably play a few starters. I believe they'll sit some guys out, but I believe they'll still play most of the starters for a little bit. I believe this will be 38-3. Michigan will pull away late in that first half, and then the rest of the guys from there. Iowa has no chance to score. They couldn't score against Nebraska. They couldn't score against my mom on the football field. It's pathetic, man. They're 10-2 playing in one of the worst conferences in the divisions in college football in the Big Ten West. How they won 10 games, it defies me, man. I don't know. That tells you how bad the Big Ten is, but they're winning 10 games and can't score in a phone booth, man. It's ridiculous. But Kirk Ferentz knows it, so I believe Michigan will roll this game easily. If I was a Michigan fan, I wouldn't even waste my time going down to Indianapolis. Just that ain't worth the time. Michigan should roll.
What did I call you? What did I call you on Saturday, Adrian? In the text group. I said you're a sicko if you watch this game.
I am. I'm gonna watch a little bit of it just because I want to see. Just want to see a little bit, and then I'm gonna turn it off. I gotta go to a wedding anyways, but they should blow them out. It shouldn't even be a question. And I'm just curious to see if Kirk Ferentz's son is gonna get fired. Brian Ferentz. We'll see what happens. But
what happened with Cade McNamara? Wasn't he the starter for Iowa for a minute?
He tore his ACL. Him and Eric All tore their ACL, and their best defensive player, DeJean, I think he tore his ACL as well. So
they were talking about that kid being a first-round pick. He still might be, but later now. Cooper DeJean or Dijon or whatever, right?
Yep, Cooper DeJean. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. If you watch this game, you guys. I mean, I get it. It's your team. I mean, I watched Florida State versus Southern Alabama or whatever it was, but they were losing at the time, so I turned it off after the third quarter. But yeah, that's I can't even watch an Iowa. It's just in general. It's not even Michigan. It's just Iowa's so bad. I don't even know what I'd be watching. Watch paint dry would be more entertaining.
Yeah, you got that right.
That's crazy. So Adrian, who's your current Heisman frontrunner right now? Who got leading the Heisman race right now?
I've been going back and forth. We talked about this. I had Bo Nix, but I've got to go with Jaden Daniels, man. What he's done for LSU. I know they have 3 losses, but man, he had a game a couple weeks ago. He had 8 touchdowns. That's insane. He's putting up Joe Burrow numbers when Joe Burrow was at LSU. He had a slight defense that could play a lick of defense. I watched their game last week against Texas A&M. My God, the way their corners play are ridiculous. The guy throws the ball up for a jump ball. The corner literally looks like he doesn't even jump unless the guy catches the ball. I mean, like I said, if he had anybody on defense, LSU may be having a chance to get in the college football playoff. But the fact that they don't, I'm still going with them. Lamar Jackson won a Heisman Trophy with multiple losses. Tim Tebow won a Heisman Trophy with multiple losses. Jaden Daniels is playing like a man's amongst boys right now. So give me him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Adrian. I mean, Bo Nix is pretty close. I think the 3 that are going to get sent, unfortunately, because I don't think they're going to get to. I don't think the wide receiver is going to get sent. I think it's going to be because if you look at wide receivers, LSU has that Nabor kid or Neighbor, however you say his last name. He's killing it. Yeah, he's killing it. I mean, obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. is killing it, and then that kid from Washington is killing it. So. Yeah, I mean, if you could send one of them, it'd be cool. I think they're going to do it? No, it's going to be Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and Carson Beck probably are going to be the 4 that go. So
no Marvin Harrison?
I want him to go. Like I said, I want him to go. I mean, he has less receptions, but he's got more touchdowns, more yards. They might send him, but I still think it's just going to be all quarterbacks. Just because their quarterbacks are playing so heavily right now. But I'm with Adrian. All that aside, I think it's Jaden Daniels. The guy's playing like a man possessed. He's an absolute specimen. The fact that people aren't even mocking him in the first round right now is crazy to me because I think if you put him in the right offense, he'll be scary. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. That won't be close. Unless Michael Penix beats Oregon. He'll probably shoot up there.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So yeah, some interesting championship games this weekend. So we'll see how that plays off, and we'll see how this college football playoff unfolds. All right. So let's switch it over to the NFL. Ravens won 20-10 over the Chargers Sunday Night Football. They're currently 9-3. Adrian, is this Ravens team the team to beat in the AFC? Does the AFC run through Baltimore?
It does not run through Baltimore. There's a man by the name of Patrick Mahomes. As long as he's in the AFC, you got to beat them first for me to believe it. I like what I'm seeing from the Ravens, but nah, that's not. Let's hold our horses.
Okay. Man, this one's tough because what I watched on that game that Sunday night, it didn't look pretty for the Ravens. I'll tell you that much. You were playing a bad Chargers defense, and you didn't. Other than that big breakaway play from Zay Flowers, they still look. I mean, the Chargers are basically in it. Justin Herbert just never has any help. Guys dropping wide open passes. So I think if you catch the Ravens on the road, if you somehow can get the Ravens on the road, they're going to lose because they do not play well unless they're they do play well still, but they don't play as good as if they're at home. So it's tough to say. I also don't like the way the Chiefs look against the Eagles. So, but I think if it did come down to it, I do think the Chiefs would end up beating the Ravens. I do think the Chiefs are still the best team in the AFC.
Interesting. I think the Ravens are better than the Chiefs right now. The Chiefs, they're about damn near neck and neck, but I don't trust Mahomes' wide receiver core. I just don't trust them in big games when it comes down to having to lead a drive, a game-winning drive. Valdez Scantling, Sky Moore, and those guys. I just don't trust them. I mean, I trust Kelsey, but if you eliminate him, you take him out. I can't trust those other guys, man. I don't think the Chiefs get back to the Super Bowl, man. I think the Ravens are the team to beat in the AFC.
I believe
as of right now. I mean, that could change though.
I believe if Kansas City gets home field advantage, I don't see them losing. If the Ravens can get the number 1 seed, then that's a discussion. But just the fact that Patrick Mahomes hasn't had to go on the road in the playoffs in his career to get to the Super Bowl tells me a lot. Now, if that happens and he can get to the Super Bowl like that, that even magnifies his greatness. But I will give Reid credit because this has been his boy all year. He finally had a really good game last week. That's his boy Rasheed Rice. He's been calling for him all season, and he had a good game against the Raiders. They're down 14-0. He had over 100 yards, 8 catches, a touchdown. So I think that's a guy Pat's finding some comfortability in. So let's be on the lookout for that.
And can you believe this?
Hopefully, restarted him in fantasy.
Nope, I did not. I did not start him. I decided to make an executive move. I don't know why I did it. I should have just rode with my guy. I've been preaching about him all season. It's the reason I lost, too, in my league. I lost because I didn't start him. And I decided to start Josh Downs from the Indianapolis Colts instead because I thought that he would, score a touchdown and have a few yards. But he's never coming out of the lineup again. My guys, C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell, holding there. Tank Dell looks amazing, but yeah, I think Rasheed Rice. I think that's his guy. I mean, he threw the ball to him 10 times. He caught it 8 times. He had 100+ yards and a touchdown. So I don't know why they don't feed him the ball more often. Again, not just because he's on my fantasy team. He's clearly the best wide receiver on the team. Quit throwing the ball to Stonehands Tony. Sky Moore, I think, is on IR now. I think he's hurt. Valdez has proved that he's just not anybody, and he hasn't really been. So they do need help. You're definitely right. They do help at wide receiver, but I mean, the Ravens, their wide receivers don't look like any world beaters either. I mean, Zay Flowers go on and off. Rashad Bateman's never panned out. Odell Beckham's an old man, so they have no Mark Andrews for the rest of the season. Well, maybe he might come. They said
that is the key right there. No Mark Andrews he's accounted for like a third of Lamar's touchdowns since they both came in the league together. And then Lamar doesn't really like to throw the ball down the field on the sideline. Mainly his big plays come from throwing the ball in the middle of the football field, and that's where Andrew's been involved. So I guess it's going to be a big load on Zay Flowers. He came up big against the Chargers, but we'll see what happens. But I think Baltimore's good, but like I said, it runs through Kansas City.
It ultimately comes down, as the last thing I say, it ultimately comes down to I just don't trust Lamar Jackson at all as a quarterback. That's what it comes down to with the Ravens.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll have to see. I'm sticking with him. I said before the season started, I picked Dallas and Baltimore in the Super Bowl. I'm sticking with him. So I still think the Ravens are going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. All right, so sticking with the AFC North. So Adrian, your Steelers won 16-10 over the Bengals. They're currently 7-4. How confident are you that this Pittsburgh Steelers team is going to make the playoffs?
I'm pretty confident. I believe they'll definitely win these next 2 games. The next 2 games are at home against 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. These teams occupied maybe the second and third pick overall in the draft. That's the Arizona Cardinals and the New England Patriots. If they win those next 2 games, 9-4, they still got another game against the lonely Cleveland. They got Cleveland up. No, not Cleveland again. They got Cincinnati again. So that's 3 wins right there. That we're looking at 10 wins. I think it'll take 10 or 11 wins in the wild card for the AFC because there's a lot of 8-3 teams right now. I believe I'm feeling more confident after watching this game. I feel a little more hopeful for the offense. No, they only scored 16 points, but Kenny was a lot more aggressive, a lot more decisive, and they had 400 yards total offense, guys. After 58 games of no 400 yards, they finally did it. So there's some life, there's some hope. We're getting some guys back off injury. Minka will be back, coming back. So I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling more confident than I ever was before. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I do think we'll lose in the wild card game. But I believe we'll make the playoffs.
I think your problem was no Freiermuth, man. He was out for so long. That dude was killing it this week for you guys. I love that guy. So, yeah, Kenny was tossing it. Looked good. I think they don't play him again. Right? They already played him twice this year. They beat him once and lost once. Damn, I was kind of hoping they were playing him again now that they have this new team. But yeah, I mean, I think the Steelers look good. It helps that they have Cleveland obviously lost to Sean. Their defense is still wicked. And then the Bengals lost Joe Burrow. So yeah, I think it's open for them. I think they can make it.
Cool. All right, so yeah, let's switch over to the Lions. You got the Lions at the Saints this Sunday. Saints are spiraling down. Derek Carr isn't playing well during a 2-game losing streak. Lions are obviously coming off the disappointing loss to the Packers. So, Reid, how do you see this one going? Do you see the Lions bouncing back in New Orleans on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean New Orleans. I think I said this to you guys. They have they have a lot of guys down. Olave left the game with a concussion last week. What's his name? Lattimore isn't going to be playing this week. So
what's his name? Shaheed might not be playing. He got knocked out with a concussion.
Rashid Shaheed won't be playing. He got knocked out too. So, I mean, everything's pointing to them winning. If they don't get his defense figured out, his pass rush figured out, I know Derek Carr is obviously not, he's not anything crazy, but if he can pass the ball, enough to someone that he needs to, don't let Jamal Williams, please do not let him run all over us. I hope that's not the case. Obviously, he doesn't play that much, but yeah, as long as you keep Derek Carr, having to throw the ball to his no-name wide receivers that he has, get some pass rush, get some pressure on him. That's been the biggest thing these last two games. They've been abysmal pass rush. They Jordan Love 6 times when they played in the first time. They couldn't get it to him once the last whole game on Thanksgiving. I turned the game off in the third quarter. I was fuming. So yeah, I think they do end up coming out with a win. Again, Saints aren't that great of a team. Dan Campbell spoke. They got to come back. They have to do better. So I think he's going to get the team behind him. I think this is going to light a fire underneath Aaron Glenn's. You know what? So I think they'll come out with a win on this one.
I think this is a must-win for the Detroit Lions. In this week, take control of this division. Minnesota's free falling again. Chicago's not good. We all know the status. Win this game. Saints have a ton of injuries, especially at the receiver position. Olave knocked out with a concussion. Shaheed concussion. Michael Thomas has been an absolute debacle since he got paid. This defense is good, but I don't think this defense is as good as everybody's calling them out to be. Atlanta was able to take advantage of them with the running game. I think the Lions will be able to take control with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So I believe the Lions will be able to pull this game out this weekend 24-13.
Okay. Yeah, I'm running with the Lions in this one as well. It seems like the Saints are in a downward spiral right now. They're in the losing streak. Derek Carr isn't playing that well. They have the injury bug. The Lions are playing them at the perfect time right now. They need to go down there and take advantage of this and get the win. I know golf plays a lot better at Ford Field, but regardless of what, everything's in your favor in this game. You're favored in this game. They got the injury bug. The Lions need to go down there, take care of business, and beat the Saints. I'm running with the Lions in this one. And also, I want to.
Oh, go ahead, sorry, Raj.
No, I just want to say that I want to see that D line step up. The guys on the other side of Hutch, I want to see those guys step up, and I also want to see the corners play better in this game as well. I just want to see the defense play better altogether in this game.
Yeah, I agree. Just don't turn the football over and play sound special teams. Don't be trying to go for a fake punt on your own 23-yard line. Just do what you need to do. And overall, if you play your game, you're the better football team. Limit the mistakes. And go in there, it might be, I don't care how ugly it is, just find a way to win this game and get out of New Orleans and get the 9 wins and potentially try to get home field in the playoffs. So that's all we need to do right now.
It was good that Dan Campbell came out and said that he made the wrong play call on that punt. So yep. I do appreciate him saying that, because everybody was kind of like, what the hell are you doing when he did that? So, yeah, I think that, like Raj said, you're losing Anzalone, which is tough this week for them. Obviously, and him not being there, being the captain of the defense, you need one of these linebackers to step up. Hopefully, it's my guy Jack Campbell. He was one of my favorite draft picks they had. He's been a little bit quiet. Obviously, it takes time to come up to the speed of the game, but I'm hoping that he is able to add himself. Hopefully, I mean, if he's the captain, I think it's going to end up being Barnes most likely, but hopefully Jack Campbell steps up big in his role right now. You might even see Rodrigo come back on the linebacker slot. So,
absolutely. So yeah, we'll definitely be watching that one. So, all right, let's close it out with Adrian's top 5 list. Let's hear Adrian's top 5 NFL teams right now.
All right, guys. Sorry I didn't get to my top 5 last week, but I think this top 5 is pretty clear right now. I think as the season's going on, it's been a little easier to decipher this. It's been a little up and down, but let's get it started. Number 1, Philadelphia Eagles, 10-1, remain the best team in football. Get a good win against Buffalo in overtime. Once he made that field goal, guys, I knew Philadelphia was going to pull out and win that game. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. I know they thought that 3-game losing streak, but since they've came back off that bye week, they have been unstoppable and have been blowing teams' doors off. Getting Chase Young was a huge addition, which the Lions could have tried to get. But that defensive line is loaded. They can run 5 deep at a time. Number 3, Reid would disagree. The Kansas City Chiefs, 8-3, still got a chance to get the home field in the AFC. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens, 8-3. The offense doesn't look the same without Mark Andrews. They're on a bye this weekend, so get everybody healthy, try to get the offense back going. And number 5, hate to say it because I can't stand this team, and anytime they lose, does nothing but make me smile. But that's the Dallas Cowboys sitting at 8-3, and they host Seattle Seahawks Thursday Night Football, which they probably will win this game. They've been a dominant team at home, a different team on the road. That's my top 5, guys.
I agree with everything except for I'm flipping Kansas City and Baltimore.
You can do it, yeah.
You had Kansas City at 3, Baltimore at 4, right?
Yep, correct.
Yeah, I will put Baltimore at 3 and Kansas City at 4. But other than that, I agree with the list, though. Yeah, 5. And then I put the Dolphins at 6, right behind the Cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good list. I don't hate the Chiefs that much. I mean, I think that they're a great team. I mean, earlier in the season, they just looked shaky. They still look shaky in this offense, as we talked about. So the defense they looked horrible that first half against the Raiders. I mean, I will say that. But as much as I do hate this team, I agree with Raaj. I was with the Ravens because they are a little bit hotter of a team right now. Granted, beating the Chargers, I don't know how good of a win that is. Did lose the Eagles 2 weeks ago, so I mean it's flip flop either way. I still think it's a good ranking. I hate that Dallas is at 5, but you have to give them their flowers. I know how you and me are; we can't stand them. So yeah, I don't like them being 5, but they deserve it. I mean they came in, blew the doors off. Who did they just play? Thanksgiving.
The Commanders.
Commanders, yeah. I mean, they're not beating solid teams. They're not over 500 teams, so they get the luxury of playing in a pretty crappy division, just like the Lions, other than the Eagles, obviously. But Giants aren't anything crazy. Commanders aren't anything crazy. I think it's a solid list. Yeah, I mean, you can't put the Lions any higher than
No, I can't
6.
right now. I'd probably put them at 7 or 8. I'd definitely put Miami and Jacksonville ahead of both the Lions because I believe their defenses are a lot better. But the problem with Miami is I don't know if they can play in any cold weather when it comes down to it. If they get home field, they're going to be unstoppable. But you got to get them on the road in a cold environment.
There's something about Jacksonville that just doesn't sit right with me. That's all. I would put the Lions ahead of Jacksonville. There's something about them. I think they're just pretenders. They have not looked good. They probably should have lost that game to Houston. My guy Stroud took that team down the field. He did look bad in the last minute and a half when he needed to get it done, but he got him close enough. It just wasn't 10 yards closer. He hit off the crossbar, but I don't know the Jack team. I just don't love. The defense is solid. I just don't.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Lions are better than Jacksonville. I had the Cowboys 5, Miami 6, and I'd had the Lions 7. I got the Lions over Jacksonville. I'm just not. Jacksonville's a good team, but I'm not sold. I'm not sold. Like they probably end up winning that division, host a playoff game. Honestly, I could see them possibly getting upset in the first round. I don't know who they're going to play just yet, but the wrong situation, they can end up losing in the first round. So I'm not. They're a good team, but I'm not sold on them.
I'm just trusting in Trevor Lawrence and them offensive weapons they have. The defense is not bad, but we'll see. They haven't. We got to put them in a position to where they got to overcome some adversity. They did it last year in the playoffs, but we'll see what happens. Like Houston's not ready yet. I know they've been playing well, but this year is not going to be their year.
Right. All right. Last question, Reid. Who's your NFL MVP frontrunner right now?
It's got to be Jalen Hurts after that win. I want to say C.J. Stroud so badly every time you ask me this question, but it's got to be Jalen Hurts after that win. I mean, Josh Allen looked incredible too in that game, but obviously the few things went wrong for them. It's got to be Jalen Hurts. He put the team on his back, won that game. So yeah, I think he's got to be the MVP right now.
I'm gonna go Christian McCaffrey. He's done everything for San Francisco. And guys, before we get off, my prediction so far is looking real good with that Buffalo Bills not making the playoffs.
I'm not ready to stick a fork in the Bills just yet. I think the Dolphins are gonna win that division, but I do think the Bills get one of the wild card spots. I'm not sticking a fork in them.
I agree.
Right, well, yeah.
Hey, and real quick, guys, I'm gonna text it to you in the group chat, but you gotta hear it. I know you heard about I don't know if you heard about what the Chicago Blackhawks did and terminating Corey Perry's contract. There's a reason why, and I finally figured it out. So I'll text it to you guys in the group chat, and if anybody else wants to know why, they can Google it, and it's kind of crazy, but I'll text it to you guys.
All right, so yeah, we're looking forward to that. All right, well, yeah, there it is. Good show, fellas. Anything else you guys want to add before we get up out of here?
College football is coming down to the last weekend, really, man. Kind of crazy how fast it went by. NFL playoff races heating up. NBA is kicking into full gear with this in-season tournament last week of the group stage. So, I mean, can't complain, man. Loving what's going on right now.
I complain about my computer every week we do this. I made it all the way to 3%. I have 3% battery left. So I'm pushing it.
Ax said, great takes, everyone.
Appreciate it, Ax.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, well, yeah, well, there it is. Sports update every Tuesday, 8 o'clock. We up out of this thing, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Peace.
See ya.
Peace.